Today is the topic I have been wanting to talk about for a long time, and that is Dogecoin. My name is Paul Barron. This is Tech Path. We're going to dive into it. You guys know us, best channel on YouTube. We're covering tech, EV, and of course, cryptocurrency. And of course, the idea behind these market movers is pretty simple. What we do is we try to give you a little bit of analysis, a little bit of data, and a little bit of dream. And hopefully it makes sense to you on the backside. So before I get started though, let's go into our disclosure here, which is always the same, and that is not investment advice. This is an educational research package that is based on our own findings and options. Listen, we're not financial advisors, and you need to do your own due diligence before you invest in anything, public or private. So just make sure and do that, do the work, as they say, do the work. All right, let's get into what today's market mover is about. Is Dogecoin hot or not? Can the influencer market create a coin? And will it become a marketing tool? We're going to answer all those questions. And maybe this will help you understand if you need to get on one of these things like, Coin Ogre or Crypto Ogre, that you have to actually go onto these weird exchanges to buy this cryptocurrency. What is Dogecoin? Let's ask that question and answer it for you. It was created December 6th by a pair of basically software engineers as a joke. A dude from IBM and a dude from Adobe say, hey, let's put this thing together. Let's make a joke. Crypto's a fluke. All this, and before you knew it, doge-meme that was all over the internet at the time just absolutely took off. Of course, at the same time, you're also looking at kind of a very unique thing. This is when it hit CNN Business. Now you know you're in the real world. All right, is Dogecoin, was it a joke or is it hotter than Bitcoin? Although each crypto is unique, it shares some similarities with better known peers. And of course, unlike Bitcoin, it's set, which is set at 21 million as the finite amount of the digital currency, Dogecoin has 129 billion coins in circulation and will continue to make new blocks of coins available to mine each year. That's part of the reason that Dogecoin is currently valued at about 3 dimes versus Bitcoin is it worth 62, or now today if we're filming this under 60. All right, but here's the thing with Dogecoin, there's a couple of things that I think people are looking at these altcoins for. Some are the use case scenario. Could this ever become a currency is always the question of crypto. And when I say a currency, I mean, can you buy stuff with it? And that's really kind of the question for Dogecoin. And here's where it starts to take reality and move into like brick and mortar. First thing is its main differentiator is an active online community, which is what makes it kind of an oddball currency that's just really fun to play around. But the group is very active on Reddit, which has raised money in Dogecoin, of course. What they did was they said, hey, let's get a NASCAR driver to basically put this on my car. I know I'm always laughing at this, but this is, it's just one of those fun things that you love to talk about. That could become a real serious thing. But with Dogecoin actually moving into NASCAR, being on basically a car at Talladega Speedway. So to me, this is something that really starts to change the dynamic for what Dogecoin could be. If you study business and marketing, and you look at how do you market your business and how do you differentiate, when you start to pull little, things like this, you start to differentiate yourself from the pack, not necessarily in the cryptocurrency side, but in actually the marketing aspect. So I want to jump to the number one, I think, this is a funny one, but this is Mark Cuban, one-ups Elon basically and says Mavs are going to hold Dogecoin on the balance sheet. Now back to, if you have not listened to my breakdown on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency held on balance sheets, you should check out one of my videos where I talk about cryptocurrency and the impact from governments, because there is some impact on this. And on all serious notes, if you're holding any kind of crypto, it's an intangible asset, and because intangible assets cannot be realized on your balance sheet, you can't take gains, which means you can't increase value on your balance sheet if you're putting cash into it, as opposed to if you were putting into a traditional market-to-market play like a Tesla stock or an Apple stock. So that's one thing to consider. But I think Mr. Cuban, the shark, had something else in mind. And that's when he said, wait a minute, we're just going to start accepting Dogecoin for their tickets. They're going to take Dogecoin and you can buy a Dallas Maverick ticket. I mean, come on. Now you are talking about just an absolute PR bonanza. Cuban is the ultimate in marketer, and he has done it again. I feel like him and Elon now are at a full-on, pace. It's a real heat of who is going to out-promote Dogecoin. And when you look at what they're doing, this is fans in mind. The Mavs will use BitPay to process all cryptocurrency purchases, including tickets and merchandise. Top cryptocurrencies include Bitcoin, BCH, Ethereum, USDC. You can kind of see the list here. In a statement basically saying we're going to take Doge as part of this, and it's really going to be a fun thing to help me do some PR around the Mavericks. First NBA team to take crypto. Obviously the first major company to take Doge as a payment device, so that in itself. But here's the one that I thought was interesting, and that was the Amazon scenario. Amazon, could they follow suit? Which basically has kind of shielded away from taking cryptocurrencies as payment. But if Amazon even remotely hints that they're going to accept any sort of cryptocurrency, this would be a massive, massive deal for cryptocurrency in its entirety, the entire category of cryptocurrency, much less if Dogecoin actually can move in here. Let's take a look at the chart. This is fun. We laugh about this today. We're probably going to look back on this in about, a year, and Dogecoin is going to be at $10 a share, or $10 a coin. And, the thing's trading at what, 32, almost hit 50 cents. Imagine the gains on that if you were in Dogecoin in this scenario. But let's look at the sentiment on this chart. Sentiment takes off here on 4/11. All right, 4/11, this is April. We're in the month of April right now. Sentiment is at 61.49, meaning nobody knows about what this is or who could care. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this thing spikes to 29, or the sentiment spikes to 83.92, dropping in at around almost 50 cents a coin, and then drops back down and then restabilizes. And guess what? The sentiment doesn't fall that month. So this goes back to a scenario that I often talk about on sentiment of things that are fun, things that make people feel good. It's kind of that brand connection that some people get when they're dealing with, something they love. In some cases, you're an Apple lover, maybe you're an Android lover, maybe you're a Tesla lover. Those kinds of things, you don't get swayed easily because there's a connection to you and whatever that particular element is. In this particular case, it's Dogecoin as a cryptocurrency. So what I feel is that there is a certain love affair with this cryptocurrency that is actually starting to gain groundswell. And whether you're playing it for profit or you're playing it for fun, the real scenario is this may become a serious thing when you have companies and individuals like Elon, Mark Cuban, and many others starting to come out of the kind of the ranks and say, listen, we actually want to use this as an instrument. With all of those kind of factors coming into play and the sentiment of consumers, retail investors, starting to look in this and say, maybe this is really a potential cryptocurrency. This is going to be the question. Will you be riding the dog to the high moon? I just don't know. I have not invested, full disclosure, in Dogecoin. I don't know if I would call it an investment. I'd probably call that more play. But at the same time, if this thing starts popping and continues its rise, this might become an investment really quick. It's kind of like when you used to, for me, it was like when I bought an EV. I always kind of thought, I'm just buying a Tesla because I'm cool. Then you realize that there's something to this. And that's when the light comes on and you realize that something's about to change the world. That, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Doge is going to change the world, just so you guys in the comments are killing me with that. But it is in one of those things where we could see altcoins really kind of making their play. I just learned about some new altcoins I didn't know existed, which is Pirate Chain and all these others. So I'm like, geez, this is going to be so much fun for the average investor. It's going to be a lot of speculation. There's a lot of volatility regardless. So make sure and watch your back and make sure you got your Captain America shield right behind you, because you're going to need it as these cryptocurrencies start to break out. We'll try to cover more and more of this topic. It's going to be fun. I think Dogecoin is going to be one of those things. Who knows what's going to happen with this one? I love to see kind of the marketing. I think more of the marketing elements around this coin could be more fun than the actual investment in the coin itself. So if you're listening over on the podcast, make sure and subscribe, give us a rating, give us a 5-star, make sure 5 stars, man, 5 stars. We want that. And if you have an idea for a show, you can shoot us an email to producer@reverendnetworks.com. You can always hit me up on Twitter. And if you're watching this, and that's @PaulBaron, but if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure and subscribe to the channel. This is how you're going to get great content. Hit the bell. That way, hopefully the notifications work and you'll get notified when we put new stuff up. We do have a lot of coverage coming at you this week. Lots of new stuff in the EV and in the autonomy world with Shanghai Auto Show, and a lot of more, and just a lot of stuff happening here in the technology categories that we cover on TechPath. So make sure and stay tuned right here. We'll catch you next time on TechPath.